What's up, everybody? It's your boy Flash from ALWT Gaming, aka Malachai36. You heard all the rustling in the background. At that point, you just had to take it off like a band-aid. Oh, that was hilarious.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. How you doing today, Gravity-Mark Dose?
I am doing good, Malachai36. How are you doing today?
Doing good. I can't complain. Definitely, it's a new day. It's snowing like crazy out. Well,
yeah, dude. What? Like,
yeah, it's stopped now, but yeah,
it calmed down a little bit. But I think aren't we supposed to get more?
I think so. So we'll have to see what the week's gonna look like. But yeah, I mean, like we got our snow. I'm just glad we got it for Christmas. I mean, it can leave now. It doesn't have to stay any longer. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, it can go. Like, it's pretty. It's really nice. It's really pretty. But like, I mean, granted, we're all kind of stuck at home anyway, so this is the perfect time to watch some anime.
There you go. And today, so be it, it's all day anime, you know what I mean? But before I go ahead and dive into that, just gonna give you guys a full disclaimer. This is obviously not a Raise Energy. This is a watermelon Red Bull. But if you guys get a Raise Energy, I just had to get this because my shipment is on its way. But right now I had to get my fix. Got my Raise Energy. I mean, got my Red Bull. But if you guys want to get Raise Energy itself, you guys can go to www.reppsports.com. Type in ALWT Gaming at checkout for your code, and you will get 15% off. So there you go. I wanted to do this a little different today because I was talking to my boy, Believe in Motion, Dr. JD, and he reminded me of a it kind of reminded me today as far as what we've been doing, which is on ALWT Gaming's page. We're doing a fantasy gaming league. Which is definitely a little different, and it's set up uniquely. Yesterday, we locked in quite a few games now, because what happens is that for your first 4 picks that's on your list, you do it inside of a draft, just like you would on like fantasy football. The second 4 pick is actually something that is a silent bidding war that you do. And yesterday that had locked in. It locks in every single Saturday. So if there's more games I wanted to drop and swap out and all that good stuff, I'm able to do that. But I wanted to give you guys a read of the updated list that we currently have. So for ALWT Gaming, represented by me, I have, this is my list: Horizon Forbidden West, Deathloop, Halo Infinite, Final Fantasy 16, Far Cry 6, Solar Ash, Project Athia, and Dying Light 2. That's what I have on my list that's coming this year. And how this works is that if 70 is the threshold, and that's it's 70 out of 100, which is on a 100-point scale, as you guys can see. If a game drops and it is on Open Critic for more than 70 points, that are more than 70 out of 100, then you get that point difference. For example, what's it called? The Hitman 3 dropped, which, by the way, I'm going to talk about that on Tuesday for All Things Gaming, because that is really a great game. I'm almost done with beating it. But anyway, when Hitman 3 dropped, I think it was like an 85 on Metacritic or Open Critic. So that means that because it's 15 points above 70, 85, then that means that Hitman had got my team 15 points. You know what I mean? But if it's below, and if it's below 70, then I actually lose those points. So if it's like, so if it's like a cyberpunk scenario and it's like a 4 out of 100, then I lose 30 points because that's 30 points under 70. So that's how that system works. And then the counter picks are like kind of your Yu-Gi-Oh! Trap cards, as Mildewy Carrot and Illis Be Live have mentioned. But yeah, so pretty much if you counterpick someone's game, and you can only counterpick someone's game that's on their list. If you counterpick someone's game, then they cannot drop that game, and because it's on that list, that's the way we kind of had it set up. They cannot drop that game. So if that game gets delayed by a year, they miss out on those points, and they can't replace it either. So like that really screws you over. If the game does drop, but it does poorly, say it gets a 60 out of 100, then since that's 10 points under 70, not only does the person that has the game lose 10 points on their score, but the person that counterpicked it gains 10 points. So that's how the counter picks work. We only had one counter pick per team. So my counter pick was God of War Ragnarok. I don't think that game's going to come out this year. If it does come out this year, I am royally screwed. But but I don't think it's going to come out this year. So that was my list: Horizon Forbidden West, Deathloop, Halo Infinite, Final Fantasy 16, Far Cry 6, Solar Ash, Project Athia, and Dying Light with a Dying Light 2 with the counter pick of God of War Ragnarok. Zaka TV, which is It's the 9-Ball, picked Resident Evil Village, Returnal, Warhammer 40k, The Medium. Oh, well, that's 40k Dark Tide, I should say, because I know there's like a whole bunch of 40k games. The Medium, which got him 5 points. It didn't review really well. It did mediocre. Ruin King, the League of Legends story, Oddworld Soulstorm, and he has still 2 open slots. So we don't know what games he's gonna pick. And then he has the pickup of he has a counter pick of the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 coming out this year. Someone had picked it. That's going to come out. Yeah. But same for him. That's a good one. Yeah, it's a great one. But I was
going to say, that's a good one.
Yeah, but the same thing, though, is that if that game doesn't come out this year, or if it does come out this year, then Zaka TV is royally screwed. Because then he'll miss those points because the counter picks work out that way. If it scores very really and that was your counter pick, then you lose those points that it gained for that player. So, yeah. Carrot Patch, which no need to really say this, but you guys could probably just assume by reference. But that's Mildewy Carrot. He chose Monster Hunter Rise, Kenna Bridge of Spirits, Gran Turismo 7, Ghostwire Tokyo, and he only picked up one game. For the draft, so he has 3 open slots, which is Shin Megami Tensei 5. So he only picked that. Yeah, he picked that one up, and he has a counter pick of Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach.
Mm-hmm. That one's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea how that one's going to fare, to be honest with you. Fantasy Football, and he spelled fantasy and football with a PH. That is Silent, and he chose Breath of the Wild 2, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, new Pokemon Snap, Elden Ring. Those are his 2 picks that he picked up from the bidding. He has 2 open slots, and he has a counter pick of Back for Blood. Then we have Illis Be Live, which he picked up Bravely Default 2, Nier Replicant version, a lot of numbers. Little Nightmares 2, Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach, The Dark Picture Anthology House of Ashes, Monster Hunter Stories 2, Wings of Ruin. That's what he picked up from the that and The Dark Picture he picked up from the bidding. And then he he has 2 open slots, and this fellow Final Fantasy player, this fellow Final Fantasy lover, enthusiast, had the audacity to pick Final Fantasy 16 as a counter pick. I think it was a wise pick because I'm going off of a leap of faith that's coming out this year. I don't know if it really will. I'm really hoping it does.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like if it was Nintendo that was releasing it, I would say yes. Just because they have a habit of like dropping a trailer for a new game like maybe a month or 2 like before its release. Mm-hmm. And like the fact that they dropped Breath of the Wild 2 as early as they did, like they're really trying to get the hype up for that one. That one looks really good. I'm really excited for that one, but I'm going to hold off on my opinions on these until Tuesday. So all things gaming.
Mm-hmm. And that's like I said, he had the counter pick. Respect, but if it drops, you're getting effed, my dude. I'm telling you right now. I hope it comes out this year because it's gonna blow away some socks for sure. And then Ohio, which is rounding out our 6-man league. He has God of War Ragnarok, Gotham Knights, Back for Blood, Humankind. He still has 4 slots open, so he hasn't done any bidding recently. And he has a counter pick of one of mine, which is Halo Infinite. And so of mine. Let me see what all that. So of mine, Halo Infinite, Final Fantasy 16 were both the counter picks on 2 different teams. Final Fantasy 16 I'm nervous about. Halo Infinite, I'm not. I have a strong suspicion that this is going to launch this year and it's going to do well. I don't think it's going to flop. So, Ohio, we'll have to see, man. We're locking horns on that one. But yeah, just wanted to give you guys a little brief update on that. But obviously, this is not a gaming podcast today. It's going to be all day anime. And what do we have on the agenda there? Gravity-Mark Dos.
Well, first and foremost, we are going to pick up from where we left off. Next up on our dock, because we just talked up a storm about Attack on Titan last week.
Deservedly so.
There's so much. There's so much content in that, dude. I could talk about that for hours. You know what? I think I could actually talk about that all day. No, actually, we're going to be moving on to the Promised Neverland Season 2, which actually, as of lately, I've heard through the grapevine that some fans are actually a little disappointed with this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, you know what? Let's just start off with the good news. Episode 4 actually just dropped. What day did it drop? A couple days ago, right?
Yeah, it came out
Friday, Saturday, somewhere around there.
And for anyone that's currently watching Promised Neverland, it's surprisingly dropping on Funimation first, and then I don't even think season 2 is even out on Crunchyroll yet. I think it's.
I was gonna say I didn't see it on there.
Yeah,
I don't think I saw it on there. No, but yeah, Funimation actually has it out first, and I have a sneaking suspicion that now that Sony is acquiring Crunchyroll, because I think they're finalizing that deal.
Yeah.
I have a sneaking suspicion that they're just gonna just split up all of their titles, where they're just gonna take all of the titles that they have from both places, and they're just gonna be like, we're just gonna split them up, so that way it would encourage people to get both. But anyway, moving on to season 2, episode 4 just dropped this past week, and boy, let me tell you, as an anime only fan, I was pretty pleasantly surprised by it. I liked it a lot. We can get to whatever other people are talking about first, but you know what? Let's just first talk about Promised Neverland 2. Do you think there's a mole in the group? Based on what we've seen so far, do you think there is a mole?
So
I have a sneaking suspicion.
Yeah, I'm pulling up the doc right now, and I don't I don't think there's a mole necessarily.
Really?
But here's the thing. Okay, so the episode before this last one, it was super anticlimactic. And I say that because it was building up, and at the very end of the episode before this one, it ended off with one of the kids saw a room, and they looked in it, and they saw on the wall it said help. So that kind of was just snap, they're still not safe. But at that same time, Emma heard a phone ring, and so she's walking in, picks up the phone, and she's listening to it. And like I said, this is happening at the same time, so you're just split screening it almost, or kind of switching back and forth. And they said that it was William Nerva, whatever that guy's name is. They said, "Hey, this is William Nerva." So when go ahead.
Yeah. Oh no, actually, I'll hold off on that since you're talking about episode 3.
But yeah, I was about to say, because so there is that that was going on where you see help, and they get William Nerva, and it's just is this guy bad? Is this guy the mole? Is this guy that's setting them up or whatever like that? I was expecting something crazy to happen in the next episode right after that, and now something did crazy happen, but it wasn't really in relevance as far as what we can tell to the writing on the wall and the phone call. So it was just the way it ended just left you out of cliffhanger, and there's no closure or reference in the second episode, at least none that I saw. I might have to rewatch it again, but that was my thing. What was your take on it?
My take on it was definitely interesting, especially with that phone call from William Minerva going into episode 4. It because didn't he change his name to Jason something?
Well, I think that was his real name.
Yeah, his real name is Jason, I think it starts with an S or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It threw me off that much. I was just Jason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's Jason?
Exactly.
But yeah. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I have honestly the room with the help completely went over my head. Because like episode 3, I was actually really excited for it to be like, oh man, like what's going on here? Like what's like were people like were kids like kept down here like in secret? Like what was up?
Mhm.
And I'm gonna have to give it a second watch because like it just the help part. I really just didn't understand like why it was there. I didn't understand who wrote it. Like, was it Jason? Because they did say that like the call that they were listening to was actually a recording.
Mhm.
So we don't know how long ago he recorded this. He could have recorded this a year ago. He could have recorded this several years ago. He could have recorded this decades ago.
Yeah.
We have no idea when he recorded this.
Exactly.
We don't know what happened. And the fact that they have just a random room with that just has like help scribbled on it, and I think it has some other people's names scribbled on it. Like I don't know if that like maybe William Minerva or Jason like lived there for a little bit, and maybe he just lost his mind and like wrote people like his other his fellow farm people's names on there, and then just like lost his mind for a second and it was like, okay, I'm good now, and then just left it there. Like I'm gonna have to give it a second watch. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say this. I still think Phil is a mole.
You think so?
To this day, I still think Phil is a mole. Like at the very least, like from what I've seen in the anime and the very little bit that I've read, the first couple chapters or so, like maybe like the first 10 or so chapters of the manga, they emphasize that Phil is like out of all of the kids, out of the top 3 that they had, Emma, Ray, and Norman, I think Phil was like right behind them. So like they emphasize that he is very intelligent and he did stay behind. Now, Grant, they made it look like, like, oh no, I'm just a scared little kid. I think he's in on it. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And I think he's putting on an act. I think he's putting on a show. He is smart. This little kid is smart. And I think he's a mole.
I don't know if he's a mole. And I'm kind of curious of.
I'm gonna go full tinfoil hat on this one. You
honestly,
can't hide from me, Phil. I see you.
I don't think he's a mole, but I kind of am curious to see what happened to those kids. Did they get moved to another farm? Because the mom inside episode 4, she was in prison. You know what I mean?
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that scene too.
Yeah.
That was actually really good, a really good cut back and forth between them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I honestly because the end of the last season, like she was still with the kids, obviously.
Yeah.
But I was kind of questioning, like, is she still with the kids? Is she not with the kids? Because like they've been listening in on the radio, and as they've been listening in on the radio, I would have expected them to like hear Mama's voice. Mm-hmm. And say like, oh, I would have expected them to say something, but they haven't said anything, and I was just like, that's a little weird. That like this person who like basically like was like your foster mother, someone like you actually who to an extent cared about you, and to an extent you cared about her. Like you're not even gonna like acknowledge the fact that you might be hearing her voice, but they never did because she was locked up because she done goofed.
Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of curious too. I'm kind of curious because all right, so season 1, the first episode sets the freaking tone. It sets the tone, and you're just like, "F everybody, F the system. Let's get out of this place." Only to find out that you are in hell practically, and
pretty much.
And it's just like after you see more inside the story, and more stuff is actually unveiling and stuff like that. You can. I'm not justifying what she did, but you can kind of see where she's coming from because it's literally survivability. She had a fear of what was out there, and even her supervisors above her were pretty much going through the same thing as well. Well, they're not going through the same thing. They're in on it. It's almost like what's going on with GameStop and hedge funds, and you know what I mean? Like the hedge funds, they're making all this money and stuff like that. We're not.
Oh yeah.
But that's a topic for another time. But I mean, it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing to where the people that's up there that is in ties with these demons and stuff. They're cool. Like they don't have any worries about their life. They're safe, whatever. And they put everybody else pretty much in the Hunger Games. And that includes the mother. She's fighting for survivability. She had a child, which was Ray, and like I think she does care, but I think she was pretty selfish in her caring about her own safety to the point to where she's just like, I have to survive by all means necessary. I have this barcode in my neck, so even if anything happened to me, or even if I were to escape, I would die. You know what I mean? Because they could just blow her up and stuff. She doesn't really have much of a choice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's kind of dirty too. It's just like, hey, we're either gonna take you away to be eaten, or, then hear me out, you could be a foster mother, and you can send other kids to their death, and we can put a bomb in your chest. It's like, it's like,
yeah.
I want a bomb in my chest, or do I want to just eat me? Like, I don't know. That's a tough one, but it's definitely interesting. And they really like teetered back and forth with the mama too, because I was actually kind of curious. Like, I was actually kind of questioning whether or not they were just going to kill her right there.
It looked like they were going to.
Yeah, it looks like it. They brought out the flower and everything. They made it really dramatic. Like, they really were just like, and you know what? And what is her name? Grandma?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what they're called. Yeah, like grandmother. I don't know what they're calling her.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like she was like making it real dramatic too. Just like, okay, guys, like make sure you bring the flower. You got to scare her a little bit. Just bring the flower. Like, just make her feel like she's gonna die. But then give her a chance. Give her a choice. And that choice was to track those kids down, which I didn't expect. I wasn't really seeing that coming. I genuinely thought that she was going to stay on the farm, and she was going to like prepare for the kids to come back, kind of like setting a trap to be like, yeah, you'll be back. He'll be back. Phil told me. So Phil told me, I know you're coming back. I'm going to set a trap for you this time. And I definitely think that we're going to be seeing them set a trap when they do go back to rescue the rest of the kids, which honestly they probably should just cut their losses. I mean, they got pretty lucky with getting all those other kids out like the first time. Yeah. Like, now they're just like, hey, let's double down on this. Like, hey, like maybe you want to like just cash in your chips and just leave the casino, because you kind of like you kind of struck out, like you just got like struck lucky like on that first time. But yeah, so the demons actually offered her to actually track the kids down, and actually, instead of like putting like, and if she can do it, instead of rewarding her with just like making her a mama again, they're gonna get rid of the bomb. They're gonna get rid of her neck tattoo, and they're just gonna drop her off in the human world.
Yep.
What do you think about that?
So there's a lot of stuff that's going on. First and foremost, there's a lot that's going on. One thing I want to, before I answer that question, I want to do a little backtracking. The reason why we keep talking about that there's a possible mole in the group is because in episode 3 of season 2, they find an area that one of these other demons that actually saved the kids, they find an area that they kind of help them direct them to, which also I have reservations about, and we'll go and talk about that in a minute. But they get to the area, it's underground. It's practically a great bunker of food and security on all that stuff. And at the very in episode 4, which is what we're going to be talking about today, they get infiltrated. They end up, there's a big bomb that goes off, and they know about the entrances and everything like that. They almost actually die. The kids are almost captured and dead until this huge, ginormous alien-sized thing comes out and starts tearing up those squad members. Of course, it doesn't favor anything. It sees humans and wants to eat them and wants to kill them. It just so happened to be the squad members over the kids. So the kids are right now in a sense of escaping of this week's episode. So we'll have to see what that's going to look like throughout this week. But backtracking in before that, the two aliens, or the two demons that saved them, they were looking good, and I was feeling like that there was going to be a scenario to where they were going to be like, it was going to be this whole Raven scenario.
I think I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, but then then the one warrior demon, like after the kids had left, was just like, I can't wait for those kids to have kids, because he wanted to eat those kids.
Oh yeah, he did.
And it was
he wanted to eat the kids of those kids so bad. Like he's and it's against his religion to do that. But he's just like, let me find a loophole around this. Just like, yeah, that should work, right? Like we just let them go, we let them procreate, and then we eat their kids. You know, like they said that only eat what we hunt, and I'd be hunting them, so not breaking the rules. Like it's interesting. I thought his motivation, honestly, I laughed. I thought it was funny. I was like, wow, okay. I thought he was going to be a good guy. I thought he was just going to be like really intense. But like, you know, he's got a heart of gold deep down. I still think he has a heart of gold deep down, but like when you keep looking, it's like, oh, he's hungry. Yeah. He is hungry. He is tired of hunting rabbits and turkeys and what do they call those new little tadpole suckers? Like
the little fish
goopies.
Things. Yeah,
little goopies. I think like he's hungry. He's like, ugh, I'm tired of all this. It's like I need some human meat. I need some human brain is what I need. I need them to read some. I need a real wrinkly brain. I need a raisin of a brain.
That is disgusting. But at the same time, it's just like he taught Emma how to hunt. And they gave them shelter. They protected them. And he even took out a lot of demons on his own. And then all of a sudden, he lets them go. It looks like that was going to be the end of it. Maybe they'll meet up again and be like in some sort of drastic way, like in like to where he ends up saving them again or something. Now I'm not too sure. I have faith in the demon girl. I have faith in her. And for anyone that's curious as well, if you guys seen the cover art for Promised Neverland, you see Emma like at the table praying like she's about to eat her food, kids behind her, and then you see this demon girl praying about to eat some food, and the one demon guy behind her. Those are the demons that we're talking about, is those two. And it's just really, it's something else. It's definitely something else, man. I have no idea what they're going to be doing here. I think there's a mole out there. I just don't know how in the group it is. And I was thinking about it when the mom was just like, oh, I can catch him. I was like, no, you won't. But then I thought about it. I was just like, well, she did catch every single one of them at the farm. Now, granted, she did have a tracker. She had a tracker on the farm. I don't think she has a tracker now. I have no idea.
But she's really smart. Like that was the one thing that the first season really highlighted very well was that even with like the trackers, like she like for the most part like actually was able to anticipate most of their moves. She just didn't see Ray like flipping out and going to burn himself and the whole house down. She just didn't see that coming at all. And granted, I don't think anyone would see that coming. Like just like all of a sudden, just like someone you live with all of a sudden just burns themselves in the house to the ground. No, like what? Why? Please no, but like what? No, yeah, like they're not going to see that coming. But so you think that she's going to be able to catch them?
I think she will. I think she's going to catch them, and maybe, then this is kind of my hope, but maybe she catches them. It looks like she's about to get ready to turn them in, and she actually deviates from the plan to help them escape even further into the human world and maybe get away herself, possibly.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I'm like, she's probably going to like find them, and then she's going to be like, oh, I'm going to get you. And then she's like, she's going to have a change of heart. And then she's going to let them go. And then her heart's going to blow up. And then, oh, no, so sad.
Yeah. I mean, that would be sad, but yeah.
Like, it would be. But, like, that's, like, and that's sometimes, like, what I talk about, like, with, like, sometimes, like, when you can kind of, like, predict what's going to happen, you're just like, all right, yeah, like, you offer freedom, and then she's not going to do it. And then this thing's going to happen. And, like that's what's going to me, that's what I'm expecting. And if I get that, it's going to be sad. Like, especially like the animation quality for the season is top notch so far. The music production, the sound quality, like it's all really great so far. So, you know, even if it's predictable, like I'm still going to be able to enjoy it for what it is. But if it turns out that maybe she doesn't, maybe she's actually just that cold hearted that she's like, no, I love you, but no, you got to go back. Right, even if it's like that, like I'm still going to be able to enjoy it. But another thing, yeah, but those people that like busted into the bunker, holy crap! I'll say this: they started off as SEAL Team 6, like just they like busting off all of like the bunker hatches.
Yeah.
Like walking to each other. I was like, dang, they are coordinated. And then they get in there and they turn into stormtroopers.
Yeah, pretty much.
They get in there and they turn into stormtroopers. They can't shoot for anything. They're like, oh no, I got hit by a table. Like, come on. Like, come on, guys. I was actually really scared when they busted in.
Yeah.
But then as soon as oh gosh, what was his name? Don. As soon as like Don was able to escape from them, I was like, oh
yeah, I survived.
Okay. But they were actually able to escape through one of the secret tunnels leading to a secret hatch. They were booking it towards the forest. They were about to get away, and that's when they got caught.
Yeah.
They sort of, and then that monster who was chasing them earlier, and like one of the previous episodes, I think it was like episode 2 or something. I think it was one of those. It
was the very first episode.
Or maybe it was the first one. Yeah,
started off
that's how it started. It started with them running away from that thing. So I did think that was a really good callback to that moment.
Now, here's the thing, though. I mean, they ran away from that thing, but that wasn't the same monster that they're running away from now. Like, it is the same type, but it wasn't
the same type.
This
thing was much bigger.
Yeah, definitely. It was huge.
So, out of all of these kids, do you think any of them are going to die? And if so, which ones do you think are going to die? Because, this episode, especially, like, starting off, they... And I'll say this. I've noticed that they've been doing a lot of kind of silent montages for a little bit. Like, I don't know if they did it in the first episode, but like every episode after that, they've kind of had like a little montage where they play some music and they're all learning how to do stuff and they're all getting along and they're all having fun. And part of me is like, kind of like, I'm like, oh, that's nice. But like when I look back on it, I'm like, oh, is that just trying to like pad for timing? Is that like it? Because like part of me is like, oh, like that's nice, but like I don't really think we need to see it. But it was in actually one of those moments that you see 2 of the kids who are actually like playing in the tunnels and like, yeah, like we play tag here all the time. I'm like, what are you kids doing? I was like, who's watching these kids? They're just running around in the tunnels or running out on the surface. Like there's no cover there. There's no cover. Like, it's a big open desert. There's no cover whatsoever. And like, the rest of the group is just like, yeah, like, that's cool. But actually, they didn't even know that they were doing that. So I'm just like, to me, I thought those kids were going to die.
Yeah. One of them, I mean, they went to the surface, and then one of the other kids did go out there and grab them and bring them back in the bunker. So, I mean, so I think there is some sense of levels of responsibility that's in that group. Because, of course, you have the older ones, which is the girl with the glasses, the guy that was in the security. I think his name was Don, is what you said. You have Ray and Emma that's at the top of everything, but then you have like some of the other ones that are a little bit older, and then you have the young ones and stuff like that are wanting to hunt. And if I had to guess, if I had to make an educated guess about all of this, something tells me that the boy with the piano is going to die first.
Oh, like I have mixed feelings about him. I want to like him, but like he's still kind of like a kind of character. And I like the fact that they are actually taking the time to pay attention to some of these other kids, because to me that's a big problem with anime that just end up just getting a huge roster of characters, is that they end up getting a huge roster of characters, like maybe like 20 or so, but they only focus on like 5 of them.
Yeah. And
you're just like, why is everyone else here? Why are you here? Why are you here? You're not important. Like the author's telling me you're important, but like I don't know who you are.
And that's kind of where like I feel the same way, because that's why I like Wise Man's Grandchild so much, is because even though it is 100% Shen Wolford, it's 100% Shen Wolford, I do appreciate that thanks for the host, by the way, Sweating Llama, appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, man.
But I was about to say, even so, like, even though you have Shen Wolford there, you have the rest of his cast. You have literally every character that was there. Like, they have something about them, and they kind of make them important and all that good stuff. For this one, they highlighted the 3 main kids, which was Norman, Ray, and Emma. And then they started trickling in, like, Don's importance a little bit. And then everyone else is just there. I think recently, I think recently I would say Jay just now started making the kid that's a piano kind of telling me a little bit more about him now. They're starting to tell me about the girl with the glasses. They're starting to tell me, and I still don't know her name. They're starting to tell you a little bit more about Don and how he's trying to go inside that leadership. So I think they're making them. Yeah, I think they're making them.
It was Gilda.
Gilda, what's up? Oh, that's her name.
It was Gilda.
Yeah, so I was about to say, I think that they're making them important so that way you do care about them, and then when that Final Fantasy VII remake happens, and that in the show, then you're just like, oh. Because that's one thing I would say about Final Fantasy VII remake is that there's characters in the beginning of the game that are completely just side characters, 100%. But then inside of remake, in remake, they actually gave them personality. They actually gave you dialogue. They actually made you care about these people. And then when a certain thing happens, which I won't spoil for anybody that's trying to get through the remake, when a certain thing happens, it just feels like it's just ripped away from you. And you're just like, crap, this sucks.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is that like if you're gonna like do character development, you have to do it the right way. You have to kind of like let it just kind of progress. I think My Hero Academia has done an okay job at it. I don't think they've done a phenomenal job at it. I don't think, honestly, I don't think anybody has done too much of a phenomenal job at it. But I know that My Hero has actually like done a pretty decent job because you have basically all of Class 1A.
Yeah.
And so like even though like they still like have some characters where you're just like like you're kind of there, but like they actually like do go into their character a little bit. So like even the guy who like doesn't ever really talk, but like talks to animals. When he finally talks, you're like, oh, you can talk people. You can talk to people too. Like they go into his character a little bit. They kind of show his parents. They kind of like talk about, you know, maybe like he's just very shy. He's not very confident in himself, and working with everyone else in the class has built up his confidence. To a point where like he can actually like function and be a much better classmate and a much better hero to be. So I think like, but I definitely think My Hero has done a pretty decent job at that. But I mean, for any series, when you introduce like, when you introduce like more than like 5 main characters that are constantly in the same space, it's really hard to try to make the audience care about all of those characters. But at the very least, I appreciate the Promised Neverland for actually like trying to make you care, because here we are talking about them. Like we're not just talking about, you know, like we're not just talking about Emma, Ray, Gilda, Dawn. Like we're actually talking about the piano kid. I don't really know his name yet, but I know he drew the short straw that said good luck when they were eating that goopy thing that they didn't know was poisonous or not.
Right.
But I did hear, and I'll get back to this. I did hear through the grapevine, and by the grapevine I mean just pretty much anybody who's ever actually like read the manga. Apparently, some people are pretty disappointed with the season so far. And I'll say this. Quick shout out to For Neverworld. I was actually just checking out him talking about this most recent season. He did a pretty good job of actually explaining the differences between the manga and the anime without really giving too much spoilers. So if you actually want to hear more about that, definitely go ahead and check him out. But yeah, apparently they skipped over like an entire arc, and because Abby actually told me about it like not too long, like a few days ago, where she's like, oh, apparently like the anime is like kind of like you know diverging a little bit from the manga, and I'm like, oh well, that happens. Like obviously like sometimes like if they think the anime could touch up on something that the manga didn't do a very good job on, like it happens. I'm like, that's fine. Like if it's like a little thing, like they're not including there are certain characters they're not including. Apparently there's like a whole arc they're missing. There's like certain villains they're missing. And as much as I actually appreciate the anime for what it is, and I'm going to continue to appreciate it for what it is, now that's piqued my interest. Because like The Promised Neverland is only one of like 2 anime that I'm actually watching, along with Attack on Titan, that I haven't read the manga yet. Like now I've read like the very beginning of the manga for The Promised Neverland, but I still haven't even like finished season 1 territory. So like I'm still very fresh into the manga. But anytime that I'm watching a manga or reading my God, watching an anime, anytime I'm watching an anime and I hear, oh yeah, like they changed this from the manga, like my ears perk up and I'm like, oh really?
Yeah.
Oh really? Like when I heard Erased, like the ending for Erased differed from the manga, I was like, oh really now? Mm-hmm. Like how different are we talking? Like enough for me to buy the whole series, maybe. Like I've at least bought the first volume. I still need to get through that, but I intend to get all the volumes for Erased because I really want to know what happens. I want to know how it differentiates. I want to know what parts are different because at the very least, as somebody who like simultaneously like read the Dragon Ball Super manga along with watching the Dragon Ball Super anime. And just being able to see the differences and being able to say, I didn't like that part of the anime, but I like this part in the manga, and vice versa. Like, like the manga could have done better with that, but the anime actually like did a really good job. So I actually like being able to do that.
Yeah.
So now hearing that like they're kind of skipping an entire arc, they're skipping certain characters. Now my interest is peaked even more because I get like people who are manga fans. I get how they feel let down. Because if I read a manga first and I'm like, wow, this is a great manga, and then I see them try to execute it in the anime and it's not exactly as I saw it in my head, sometimes I'm gonna be a little disappointed. But if you watch the anime first and then you hear the manga's different, you're like, oh cool, I already like the anime. Let's go read the manga now. Yeah. Now that's a double plus for me. But
different plot lines and everything.
Yeah, different plot lines and everything. So I actually, for me personally, I'm excited to see what this anime has to offer, especially knowing that it is different from the manga. I want to see how different it goes.
Yeah.
I want to see how different it goes. I want to see if I want to see what they're going to do. Is it going to be like OG Full Metal Alchemist difference? Or is it going to be just kind of like a few things like here or there? So far it sounds like they're definitely doing something different. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with it.
Yeah, same here. I'm not really the huge manga type, to be honest with you. Like, there's been a few, like when Dragon Ball Super first started, I was reading that, and then I went to the actual show, and there were small differences, and then it started becoming bigger differences. Like, one of the things that was a noticeable difference to me was when you first find out who Beerus is and stuff, and he's about to go to Earth, and he ends up trying food at a planet that tried to poison him. And he's just like, oh, okay. Well, inside the show, he blew up the whole planet by tapping the table, and the whole thing just exploded. And him and Whis just left, and he had a vision about a warrior that could actually push him to his limits. But then, like in the manga, he's like, well, only half of you guys are responsible for this. I'm gonna go destroy half the planet. He taps the table, and half the planet blows up. The other half is still there. And it's just like, okay, that's different. It's small. It doesn't really have an employee to it, but it just shows you how strong Beerus really is, just by tapping the table and blowing up a whole the whole planet. So it's just kind of crazy to see that. But I don't know. I've never really been the manga type. Consistently, that is, as far as reading them. And 90% of that is just because I do want to see how the artists and developers wanted these characters to be. I wanted to see how they sound like. I don't want to like make up own voices in my head, and then I see them anime and I'm like, oh, that's what they sound like. Like I don't want to have that. I want to see the action in real time. I don't want to have to just imagine it. I do want to see the action in real time. Now, again, nothing wrong with mangas at all. Definitely nothing wrong with that at all. But as far as if I had a choice to read it or watch it, I'd rather watch it first and then read it later versus read it first and then watch it later. Unless it's like a Hunter x Hunter scenario to where the artist is going in hiatus, then you want to try to read a little bit more.
Yeah. Yeah. At that point, you want to read a little bit farther on.
Exactly.
Dragon Ball Super was really interesting because like Dragon Ball Super is probably one of the only it's the only production that I'm aware of where they had the original author just kind of like come up with just a bare bones like kind of synopsis of what happens, where they're just like, okay, this happened, like here's a character, here's the design for them, like this is what they do here, then Goku does this, and then Vegeta does this, and then they do this and this and this and this, and like he kind of just like gives a general outline, and then he gives it to Toei Animation for them to go ahead and animate in their own way. and then he gives that same outline to Toyotaro to create the manga in his own way. And so then you have like two. That's why you have like two end products that are very different. Like Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Holy crap! That blew my mind. I loved that so much. And Toyotaro didn't really do. He didn't really do that in the manga, and that's fine. I was totally fine with that because he actually brought out Super Saiyan God back during the Universe 6 tournament.
Yep.
Which the anime didn't do. And I love the design of Super Saiyan God. I love the design of Super Saiyan God. I love how he's just kind of smiling. He just looks like he's in his base form. He's just a little thinner.
Younger.
Also,
it appears younger.
Yeah, younger. Like it looks like they roll back the clock with him. But so far, like I'm actually caught up currently with the Dragon Ball Super manga. Definitely give it a check out. The new character Granola is pretty interesting. He's got some vendettas against some Saiyans and really doesn't like Frieza. Yeah. So so I'm really interested to see what that has to offer. But watching the anime, reading the manga, I prefer to do it like side by side if I can. So that way like I don't get too disappointed. Yeah. Because right now I'm caught up with Black Clover and My Hero. And like Black Clover's catching up, but My Hero, like they're a couple years away from actually catching up to where they are in the manga. And like right now, it's just kind of like, all right, I gotta sit and I gotta wait for like all this other stuff to happen before I can actually tell anybody. Like I sent a text to the group.
Yeah,
I sent a text to the ALWT group like maybe a month or so ago when I was like, oh my gosh, like I can't tell you guys this. But something just happened in the manga, and I'm like, 2022 is about to be lit.
Yeah. Real fast before we go, because I do want to get your take on who you think is going to survive inside Promised Neverland 2 as well. But before we do that, got to give a shout out to ODog079651 for the cheer of 200 bits. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that.
200 bits.
Yeah, 200 of them bad boys.
Bits, man.
And also wanted to throw out there, in case anyone is curious, again, we do have a 15% code. I mentioned it at the very beginning of the show. I mentioned it again here now. If you guys go to repsports.com, repvsports.com, and type in ALWT Gaming at checkout, when you guys get your water supplements, your Raise Energy, your workout powders, whatever it is, you guys will get 15% off if you type in ALWTgaming.com or ALWT Gaming. And if you'd like to go to our website and just to check out our posts, download the app, the whole nine, get the little funny gaming memes, though everything that we do, go www.alwtgaming.com. And for anyone that is also curious, ALWT stands for At Least We Tried Gaming, because at least we tried, you know. Did want to take this moment to also give a shout out to Nasty V Nas for following us previously, so thank you very much again for that. Another shout out to Sweating Llama for the host, and O-Dog for the bits. So thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it. So going back to you, what are your thoughts? Who do you think is going to live? Who do you think is going to die? Promised Neverland. I think it's going to be the piano guy at first. I could be wrong. It might be the girl with the glasses. I feel like it's going to be one of those characters that hasn't had too much of a vital role recently, but I think it's going to be someone that has the writers make you care about, even just slightly. So, what are your thoughts?
That's a really tough question. I definitely feel like, which I'll say this, whichever character they are going to kill off, they're going to make you feel very sympathetic for that character first. So I have a feeling that what we're probably going to see if they do decide to kill one of the kids off is we're going to start seeing the show start to slowly start paying attention to them and start to really make you feel sympathetic for them and really make you like that character. And then they're just going to murder them. So the piano kid definitely fits that description. Especially when he's like, I'm not going to play the piano anymore for you guys. And then they're like, no, you can't just not play the piano.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a really strong one. Like some of the other kids, like the shorter kids that kind of like are that dynamic duo. like with the black hair and with the yellow hair.
Mm-hmm.
Like those kids, I feel like are safe. I feel like they're safe for now. I feel like if they do continue to go on, I feel like maybe they'll kill off one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that way, like, you can kind of see like the aftermath of how that affects the one that did survive. So, like right now, I'm gonna say it's the piano kid, but episode 4 had me thinking it was gonna be both of the kids who are running around the tunnels and like going up to the surface. I genuinely thought that it was just gonna be like it was just gonna be like a music montage of like everyone's cooking, everyone's gardening, they're playing, they're running around on the surface, and then all of a sudden we're just gonna see them both get sniped in the head. But at the same time, I don't think they'd get sniped in the head, because now that I think about it, that's some precious product right there. They can't be they can't be letting that go. Which also leads me to believe, like, why were they going in there with guns? And why are they like obviously, like, you got to blow the hatch off, but like you could have damaged the products. Like they emphasized like these were top tier products. So I feel like if any of the kids were to die, I don't think it would be at the hands of anyone from the farm. Or if it was, it would be maybe one of the younger, dumber kids. Like,
we'll see,
yeah, so whatever it is, I definitely feel like they're gonna start to pay attention to them. Like they're gonna do what they did in The Walking Dead. Is they're just gonna start to they're gonna start to make you feel real bad for them. Like, oh man, I like that character. Man, that character could have had a better time. And then they're gonna die, and you're like, oh no, that kid.
Yeah, I agree. It's just really, it is at a point where it's just like, snap, man, what is this season going to bring me? What is going to happen on the next episode? Like I said, the last one, it had me, it reeled me in. The way they started this episode 4 kind of was a low-key, like, low blow for me. And I only say that just because it literally was anticlimactic the way that episode 3 ended, going inside episode 4, because like you said before, I'm still kind of confused as far as why it was set up that way. There really wasn't a whole lot of dialogue there. Maybe that's part of the manga issue. Maybe there's more to it that's in the manga that's just not inside the anime or whatever. But I mean, ultimately, I still do enjoy the show, definitely, and we'll just kind of have to see what this week has to go for us on Promised Neverland. And that kind of brings us to topic number 2. That time I got reincarnated as a slime. This is another anime that's been ongoing as well recently. I think they're on episode 3, 4 as well. Very exciting stuff. The last thing that we remember seeing was Rimuru going to the Dwargon capital and seeing the king and revisiting those moments with. Well, first, before I dive into that, have you got caught up on that time I got reincarnated as a slime?
No.
Okay, all right. So
I've been a little busy. I've been a little busy lately, but I did just create a Crunchyroll account, because apparently Funimation just wants to be a jerk about this whole thing. They're like, we'll give you Promised Neverland, but yeah, no, if you want season 2 of That Time I Got Reincarnated, you're gonna have to get Crunchyroll. So I'm gonna have to get Crunchyroll, which isn't honestly, which isn't even that bad of a deal. Like, they have a lot of really great titles.
Exactly.
Like most titles that like I want to watch and I can't find are more often than not on Crunchyroll. Mm-hmm. So I'm just like, okay, well, like I guess it's like, okay, I guess I'll get it.
So with that being said, I will skip that segment, but I will say, the way that the first episode going inside the second episode introduces season 2, well, technically episode 1 is kind of like I think it's still technically in season 1, but the newest episode after the OVAs is kind of an overcap of what was going on, but it's coming from Shizu's student's point of view. There's a student that's been out there, and she's kind of reading the everything that had happened. It's almost like Veldora's journal. And I was
actually just watching that, right before we hopped on this podcast. I was actually just watching that. I haven't finished watching it just yet, but actually I like the way that they're kind of retelling it, because I was going to rewatch the entire first season, because it's been a minute. Mm-hmm. But like I kind of like how they're just kind of like skimming through the whole thing, being like, oh yeah, like this happened and then this happened. I'm like, oh yeah, that happened. Oh cool. Like now I don't need to rewatch it.
Yeah. My only qualm with it is they already have that with Veldora's journal. He's playing chess with Ifrit. So it's just like either get rid of that one and put this one in its place, or like why? Like I mean this might be like one or two little scenes that's just like, okay, that wasn't anywhere in the series and showing that it's current. But it's just like they didn't need that. So I don't know. That was my qualm with it. The official first episode is kind of going inside a new territory, if you will. They come across some new individuals that are pretty strong, and you see Shion and Yom go off. Like it gets intense, and then episode 2, you very well could have predicted, but it's always a pleasure to see. You get to experience Rimuru's power, and it's just like, okay, season 2 is back officially. And like I said, I love what they did with Yom. I love because Yom was one of those guys that went off to go around telling all the humans that he was the hero that defeated the Demon Lord per Rimuru's request. And they gave them some dope armor and all that good stuff, but also to back that up. And this is something that they didn't show you in season 1. They reference it in season 2. The old Kijin guy that was training all the goblins and has actually trained the prince and all that good stuff. The old Kijin guys who trained Yom, and it shows, and it gets dope, man. It gets dope. So I wholeheartedly appreciate what the season's doing. And like I said, I won't dive into it because I don't want to spoil anything for you. But also, I want to be able to make sure that we have a lot to talk about next Sunday for All Day Anime for when that new episode of That Time I Got Reincarnated Slime happens this week. So be on the lookout for that.
I will be caught up by then, so we can talk about Rimuru eating everybody. Just I will say this about the show. I love it. I absolutely love it. I like power fantasies are like I kind of like go back and forth with like power fantasy shows because like sometimes I love it. Like One Punch Man, love it. It's a great series. The anime I honestly haven't even seen the second season of the anime because I've just been reading the manga. And holy, the art for the manga is just it's amazing. They don't give like updates as to when they're going to release the next chapter. It's just kind of like you get it when you get it. But when you do get it, it's a nice little present. It's a nice little package. But like I feel like sometimes with power fantasies, sometimes like it can be a little overdrawn. Like, you know, like sometimes it's just like it kind of like takes away the suspense of the whole thing. But I think this show, That Time I Got Reincarnated, like actually like does a pretty decent job of trying to balance that out by saying, hey, like Rimuru's strong. He's not like he's not like the strongest, but like he's really strong. And his ability to just eat everything and take everyone else's abilities is pretty busted. And if it was a normal series, I would say, I don't know. But I kind of like how you can kind of just expect a happy ending, you know, like no matter what's going on, you can kind of like expect some sort of catharsis. And I like that. Like, I kind of like being able to like watch a show and being able to say like, oh, like, I wonder how he's going to do it. But now kind of like knowing in the back of my head, like whatever happens, like it's going to be a happy ending. Like it might not be the happiest, but like when they fought that orc demon lord, like it was, and then he took the orcs in. I was like, he didn't need to do that. He could have just said like, no, screw you guys. But like his kindness and generosity is very interesting as a character, because you don't normally see like a character who's kind of like who's very OP and is being thrusted into all of these different scenarios where he's just like, oh, like you're a leader now. Oh, I didn't really want to be. Like, and he's kind of like trying to pawn it off too. He's like, no, you're the leader. He's like, cool, I'm in charge of this, but you're still in charge of me. He's like, darn it.
Yeah. And that's also that's a great point, because that's one of the reasons why I do love this anime so much, is because the messaging behind it is equality, treating everybody again with respect, with love, with care, not looking down on anyone. That's actually one of the things that he straight up says in like episode, I want to say 4 of season 1. And that's what it is. Like, if you go to this town, the Tempest Federation, Rimuru Tempest Federation, if you go to this town, you'll see humans there. You'll see dwarves there. You'll see lizard men, which are now transformed. You'll see Cajun. You'll see orcs. You'll see like you'll see goblins. Like, they're all together living in. Or you'll see the dire wolves, which are now the Tempest wolves. It's just like it's just so much equality there, and it's just like that's what it's all about. It's about building each other up, building the community, really, really being there for each other. It's great. It's great. And I very well am very curious to see how the rest of the season is going to go, as well as the action that they have in there is just dope. It's just top scale, man. It's fantastic.
It's a good time. It's just a good time all around.
It definitely is. So yeah, we'll have to see how that's going to pan out. I do want to skip C, because we talked about it a lot last week, and I do have reservations about it. But I do want to talk about D and E on our document. And so what we have first, in case anyone hasn't yet to see this, if you guys haven't checked out Jujutsu Kaisen, you're missing all the way out. You're missing out. You guys definitely want to go ahead and check it out. And my question to you, talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, as we're getting a little deeper into it, and we won't talk about the latest episodes. We will talk about that as we have these all day animes and it gets deeper and more meat inside the series. But my question to you is, how powerful is Gojo?
I think Gojo is a lot more powerful than what we've seen so far. Mm-hmm. The way that they're really scaling him up is they are scaling him up to like probably end of the Fourth Great Shinobi War, Kakashi. Like they're making him like really powerful. It like especially just being like, oh yeah, like your punch didn't hit me because it landed in the infinite space between us, and you're just like, no, dude, it's like that much. Yeah. But then when you're like, oh well, but like how many decimals can you get out of that? And you're like, oh my god, like kind of like one of those things. But I really think that we haven't seen the tip. We haven't even seen like near the summit of where his power is. I definitely think he's very strong. He's very up there. And whenever he takes his blindfold off and we see his pretty little eyes, we know that's when you know he's like, okay, he's getting serious now. He really wants to see you. But he's strong. He made that like volcano head guy like look like trash.
Literally, and he's a special grade demon.
Yeah, he was toying with him. He was a special grade demon, and like he's just like, oh yeah, like just sit back, like just watch this. Like, and he was like teaching, teaching. Yeah, he was teaching him like as he was fighting. He's like, oh yeah, like this place, like this is this, like that's like this. He's pretty strong, so you need to sit back. And then he just starts playing with them, like he's not like, ugh.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think I wholeheartedly agree. Like, and anyone that's been watching Jujutsu Kaisen or don't know what Jujutsu Kaisen is, it's a newer type of anime. Yeah, definitely.
What are you doing? Get on this now. It is a great series. This is one of those next big things.
Yeah.
Like everyone likes to talk about like, oh, like what's the next big title? What's going to be the next big thing? What's going to be the next big 3 anime coming out? This is definitely one of those titles.
100%. And it's just like, yeah, like, so the action's impactful. It's beautiful. And you see so much action from Gojo alone. You guys will see who Gojo is in episode 2. You guys can see how strong he is right then and there. And that's still not even the limits of what he's able to go to. It's definitely crazy to see that later on in the series there's a special grade that our main students struggle with pretty heavily, and this special grade that we're talking about, this volcano head special grade demon, is stronger than that grade demon, and Gojo's just treating him like a kid. He even calls him weak. He even calls him weak. He's just like, you're pretty weak. And it's just like, really? And like after that, you see all these other special grade type demons that are pretty strong too as well. And more stuff kind of comes out too as well about the anime and strength. And like a lot of these demons' biggest goal is to take down Gojo just because he happens to be the strongest one of them all. And we still have yet to see his full power, which is crazy. The thing that I'm curious about, is Gojo going to have a Jiraiya moment?
That's a good question. Is he gonna have a Jiraiya moment?
And Jiraiya,
I don't know.
The Jiraiya that I'm talking about, for audio listeners and for people that are curious if I'm making the reference, yes, I'm talking about Naruto.
Naruto! Ooh, Panda. Ooh, Panda. Man, I need to get off of Jujutsu Kaisen's Twitter, man. I need to knock that off right now. Just spoiling some stuff for Panda for me. Oh, Panda. But I don't know. I feel like he's too ambitious. I feel like he's way too ambitious. I didn't see that ambitiousness from Jiraiya. I didn't see that from him. Now, I have heard some things about Jiraiya and Boruto, so I'm not going to touch that because I haven't really touched on Boruto yet, so I'm just going to keep that over there for now. But I don't know. I don't think so. I think he's too much of a Kakashi. I think he's going to be the stepping stone that his students will use to rise above him. So I think he's gonna allow them to get to there, but I don't think he's going down. I don't think he's gonna be going down. I feel like he might, and then they're like, oh no, he's dead, and then he'll just nuh-uh. He thought he killed me, but he actually killed me in the infinite space between him and I. So he actually killed a doppelganger. I don't know. Dude, with this level of power, you have no idea. To an extent, it almost at a certain point, and I say this not as an insult, but it sounds like they're just making stuff up at that point where you're just I don't know if this is great or what, but so far it's great. The animation for it is crisp. And also, yeah, because I love me some crisp animation. The music for it is top notch. So yeah, if you haven't watched it, what are you doing? What are you doing with your time? What am I doing with my time? I still haven't even caught up with it yet. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be a Jiraiya.
I hope not. We'll have to see though. But in that same vein, on the same token, talk about another character from there, Ittori. Itodari. Do you think he'll have a Sasuke moment? And again, referring to Naruto.
You know what? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think he's gonna have. I don't think so because I feel like if anything, the other guy would.
The one with the dogs, the hounds and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, what was his name? He had the same name as somebody from Food Wars.
Yeah, I haven't seen Food Wars, so I wouldn't know.
Food Wars also another great series. Go ahead and check that out. But it was a more feminine name, which is why I was like, oh, that's a little odd. But I mean, as somebody who also has a pretty feminine name, I'm like, oh well, welcome to the club. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a Sasuke moment. I think he's way too positive. I feel like maybe at some points we're gonna see the demon actually fully possess him and actually hold on to him for a while, because we already have seen that he's able to do that. We've already seen that the demons has been able to possess him and kind of hold on to him for quite some time. Mm-hmm. But I feel like we might see that again.
Megumi.
Yeah.
Megumi. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, I feel like we're going to see that again. But something also makes me question as to whether or not this is going to be more of a Bleach thing. because
before you finish that, LSB Live says Food Wars is amazing. What the dude look like from Food? What the dude look like from Food Wars? Question mark.
oh, so it was actually a girl. It was Megumi.
Megumi, yeah. Yeah, I think he was just saying the name. I don't think he was saying that he looked like anyone from Food Wars. I think they just shared the same name.
Yeah, Megumi Tadoroko or Tadokoro.
He said LSB Live says blue hair chick? Question mark.
Yes, blue hair chick. Like
go.
the one that's supposed to be like a country bumpkin.
Yep, and he just agreed with you. So there you go.
Yeah. See. Go. Yeah. Like sometimes like I'm just kind of like sometimes like when it comes to anime I'm just like like can we just like come up with the original names, and eventually like you kind of run out of names, but I like the fact that I was like, oh, like Food Wars, cool. I got it.
Yeah, there you go. And you all right, so what were you talking about your reference on Bleach as far as that's what you think that this approach is going to be?
I have a feeling because like at the very least I'm getting those vibes of like when Ichigo actually had to like confront his blade inside of himself, and it, like now like it didn't look like that really cool guy, like now it looked like just like a reverse negative version of him.
Yeah
I have a feeling that it might turn out to be something like that, where like he like that, or maybe like odds are it'll probably end up being something very similar to Naruto and Kurama. So like it's probably going to be something similar to that, where it's like, oh, like I got a demon inside me, but like we're tag teaming on this one.
Yeah, and I agree with you too. I don't think that Itadori is going to go through a Sasuke phase. I wouldn't be surprised if something happens to where that demon inside of him becomes completely dormant, and then he has no ability, period, for a time period. I wouldn't be surprised if something like that had happened. But I don't know, man. I mean, like, because right now the strongest one out there, as we mentioned before, is clearly Gojo. At least from what we were able to see. I don't know what his teachers are like, but I know that right now, from what has been revealed to us, Gojo is the GOAT. Bah. All of that. So, yeah, man.
What I'm really hoping from this is I'm really hoping that I'm kind of hoping that like he and the demon inside him like don't work together. Like I kind of like want that. Like I want them to like I still want it to be that double-edged sword, because like a lot of the times, like especially like with shonen, like where you see like, oh, like it's the main character but they have a demon inside him, oh no, like they can't like they have all this like potential like power that they have, but like, oh, like if you use it, like you might lose control, and then eventually like it gets to a point where they're just Narutoing it and they're just blowing stuff out of the water, blowing mountains up. But I kind of want it to still be like a double-edged sword. I want them to be like on like decent terms, but I still want like the demon to be like, hey man, you drop your guard, and he's like, I know.
I mean, well, it's happened once before in the show, so you're wanting more of a Black Clover scenario versus a Naruto scenario.
Yes, but I will say with some of the things that are to come with Black Clover, keep your eye on that, because like I said, I'm caught up on the manga. Manga's a little bit farther along than in the anime, so
probably a lot
keep your eye
by now.
It's not as far along as I would like it to be, but the anime does a pretty good job of like padding it out a little bit, kind of like making it feel a little bit better, because like lately it's felt a little rushed. But I'm hoping the anime is going to do a better job fixing that, just because some of the more recent stuff has actually been like filler, but like it's been like okay filler. Like it's been filler that doesn't necessarily feel like filler. But all I'm saying, Black Clover, keep your eyes open for that coming soon with everything going on there.
Gotcha. And before we go ahead and get on to the last little segment for this one, which is ReZero. Subaru is starting to hone his powers off. Well, first off, before I say that, are you caught up on ReZero?
No.
Okay, so
we'll come back busy. To that. Yeah, I've been a little busy, but it is on my list. I left off like right when they were entering the sanctuary, and I know, and I've heard some. Yeah, I'm still like kind of like pretty early on into season 2, but I've heard nothing but great things about the season so far. So like a lot of people who even like season 1 are saying season 2 is better. So I'm really interested to see what season 2 has to hold.
Yeah, same here. I'm very dude, man. Like, dude. All I gotta say is you have yourself the latest episode, which I'm not gonna spoil for you. But there's a trial that one of our main characters has to go through, and they revisit a past, and they get a visit from a very unexpected individual that you've already seen, and it makes you like, what in the world is about to go down? That's all I'll say.
You never know. You never know with ReZero, man.
You really don't.
Like every time he gets a reset, like things you think are canon and things you think are being consistent are all of a sudden not anymore. And I like the fact that the show keeps you on your toes like that
every time.
It keeps you on your toes, and it kind of makes you like think like, oh, like did that happen before? Like what was that? Like what happened? Like after he reset? Like what little butterfly effect did they just make?
Yeah. Just give me back Rem. Give me more Rem. You know, like that's all I gotta say. But yeah, we'll hold off to that one for next week as well. So we got That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime on the next week's agenda. We have ReZero for next week's agenda. But I did want to talk about a hidden gem, which is Infinite Dendrogram.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that a lot of people have not fully given this one a full shake, a full try, if they have started it or may have never heard of it. So I'm going to just kind of read a little bit about the plot line. So, in the year 2043, the virtual reality MMORPG Infinite Dendrogram is released, featuring the ability to perfectly simulate players' 5 senses. Nearly 2 years later, Reggie Mukadori enters the world of Infinite Dendrogram and assumes the name Ray Starling upon his arrival. He is joined by his more experienced brother Shu and his embryo companion Nemesis. As Ray explores the world of Infinite Dendrogram, he learns to make a life for himself there and meets different kinds of friends and foes. So, first and foremost, Infinite Dendrogram, very similar to Sword Art Online. And everything that's happening is in game. There's no danger for them in particular, but one of the playbooks that they did take out of what's it called? Sword Art Online is in the game Sword Art Online. What was it? It was Hollow Realization. In Hollow Realization, one of the biggest themes was if the NPC dies in the game, then that's their actual life, and they're dead. They're gone for good. If a player dies in the game, they just have to relog back in. But if an actual NPC dies in the game, that is their actual life, and they're completely gone. And some of these NPCs inside the game of Hollow Realization were starting to develop real emotions, real feelings, and stuff like that. So it made the players care about these NPCs even more. That's the game. This is very similar to that. And Infinite Dendrogram is the epitome of free will in a video game. So it's really, really, really hard to decipher who's a player and who's an NPC. So I will say that much. Same thing like Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. If a player dies in the game, they respawn. If a NPC dies in the game, they're dead and they're gone for good. So it's pretty pivotal for these players to protect some of these NPCs or protect the NPCs in general. It does have an interesting start. His brother Shu, I really wasn't a fan of at first because he was always he was known as a really strong character, but he was in a bear suit almost the whole time, rocking guns, and he kept on.
I like that.
I hated that. I didn't like that.
I loved it. I love it when a series, like, at the very least, like, tries to be, like, serious, but, like, then they throw in, like, some really weird, goofy stuff. Like, that's why I like Panda from
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen. Yeah, he's just a panda. He's just a talking panda named Panda. I love that. It's like, why is he there? Like, he doesn't like. Why is he there? Why are they like just naming him Panda? Like, they could have named him anything, but they're just like, oh yeah, that's Panda. It's like, you mean a panda? No, like that's Panda. That's Panda. That's a panda named Panda. I love it. It doesn't make any sense, and I love it. Sometimes like you just want to like shut your brain off, and you just want to be like, yeah, sure, okay, that's Panda. So like, I like the fact that he was in a bear suit, like, because like he still had like some pretty heavy artillery, and he was still like doing some work, but he was doing work in a bear suit, and I liked that.
Right.
I liked how goofy it looked.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, because like normally, at least when it comes to me in animes, I'm not hugely gun ho about the goofiness. I'm just, that's just not me. Like I do like the serious types. I do like jokes here and there. I do and everything like that. But I feel like if they steer too heavy to be goofy, it seems like a try hard. And so that's kind of what I feel like that outfit was supposed to be, is that you have this really strong character and he's just in a big grizzly bear suit. And it's just, I don't know, it was just kind of weird. And then but as the series goes on, it starts snowballing and starts becoming like, all right, this is cool. You do have all these people that are actually pretty strong. You have it's like the four strongest people that's in the game. And it just gets insane. And no one knows who number one truly is. And that gets revealed at the very end of season 1. I'm almost guaranteed there's going to be a season 2, the way they kind of ended it. But that one was one that was interesting. It took me a minute because I had to come back to it. I tried to watch that first, couldn't get into it, left it alone for months. Then I came back to it and was forcing myself through it. And I was like, okay, this is getting good. This is picking up steam. I'm digging this.
That's the thing with series like that, because that's actually like this my experience with Infinite Dendrogram is that like I started to watch it. And like, I don't know, like if they just stopped the episodes for a little bit, or if I just fell off the wagon, or what it was. I think I might have been watching it like as it was coming out, and then so like eventually I skipped a week, and then like you skip another week, and then you skip a third week, and eventually like you're several episodes behind, and you're like, oh, that's right, I was watching that. Yeah, because like it's not like I didn't like it. Like I actually did enjoy watching it. I was just like, oh, I just had other stuff going on.
I actually didn't like it at first. I thought it looked cool. I thought the premise was cool, but I actually didn't. It just wasn't engaging for me.
Yeah, that was really it. Like it, like I liked it. I enjoyed it. Like I always say, like whenever you go into a series, you have to adjust your expectations. Yeah, you know, like you have to just be like, okay, like what am I really going to get from this? Am I going to get Attack on Titan levels of drama? Yeah, and suspense? Probably not. And so like you have to just be like, okay, well, like I'm just not going to get that from the series, and I have to say that's fine. So at the very did I want more from it, for at least from what I saw? Yeah, like it felt like it was just kind of like jumping around a little bit, but
and I think that's honestly, because Ohio has the same thought process that you do on that. As far as adjusting expectations, you watch more anime, but I know that for Ohio in particular, he does not like Goblin Slayer, and I thought that Goblin Slayer was pretty okay. I actually didn't mind it. I watched the whole thing and I did enjoy it. But one of the things that he hated is that he felt like there was absolutely no character development with him at all. And I was just like, there was the character development there, but it wasn't like a skill-based thing. He was already skilled. He only wanted to hunt goblins that we already knew and stuff like that. It wasn't so much of a character building or character-based development because of his skill. It was him learning to actually work with others, actually asking for help. That was his character development, and that's what he came to terms with. And so I got that closure, but Ohio didn't. But after speaking with him more and trying to pick his brain more about it, turned out that we had spoiled him with all these great animes beforehand. So for him to have all this stuff that's out right now, then come to Goblin Slayer, he's like, this show's trash. I watched the whole thing and it's trash. Like that's his statement. And I think it's because we did spoil him with 7 Deadly Sins, and that time I got reincarnated as a slime and Wise Man's Grandchild and all these other stuff that have excellent character development, excellent plot, and then you get hit with Goblin Slayer, which is pretty mediocre.
Yeah, like you have to adjust your expectations for what you're watching, because if you don't, you're gonna be like, oh, that show is trash. And it's like, well, like it wasn't that good. Like it could have been better, but you have to kind of just enjoy it for what it is, so that way you can allow yourself to open up the opportunity to enjoy other things. Now, like if you just flat out don't enjoy it and you think it's trash, that's totally fine. But like there's certain characters like who, like in a sense, like aren't supposed to have character growth. Like Goku is a perfect example of that. Goku is a neutral character. Like his purpose is to be that benchmark that helps other characters grow. Like he has had like some character growth since since he was a kid in Dragon Ball for sure. But like for the most part, like his role as a character in the story is to help the other characters grow and develop because of his interactions with them. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things that like you have to understand that you have to understand the role of certain characters that they play in a story. You have to just be like, okay, well, their role is to help other characters grow, and while I might want them to grow more myself, they're kind of just doing their thing, right? Like they're already true to themselves. They don't lie to themselves about anything. They're just like, yeah, I'm me. Because I mean, just hey, I'm Goku. It's like he's Goku. Like Goku's Goku. Like Goku's gonna be Goku. Like that's it. But you guys definitely spoiled it with some good stuff. So I totally see where he's coming from, because like when you watch like back to back like just banger shows, and then you just watch another show and you're like, what is this? What is this? I've been eating truffles and caviar, and now you're serving me like half price deli meat. What is this?
Now, what's an Oreo?
What's an Oreo? Not even double stuffed.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it was. So it's just like, yeah. But let me ask you this. Going on to a fantasy deathmatch for you. And by the way, I say all that to say, backtracking, Infinite Dendrogram, if I had to rate it on a 10-point scale, after getting through everything, I would put it at a 7.5, 8 out of 10. So it's worth the watch if anyone's wanting to get into any new animes. Infinite Dendrogram. Yeah, definitely make sure you guys give that a watch after you've watched That Time I Got Reincarnated as Slime, Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, ReZero, all these other bangers that's out there. Yeah, but set your expectations.
Yeah, just adjust your expectations. Yeah. Adjust it. Like, just say like it's not gonna be these shows, and that's okay.
Yeah, because it won't compare. It won't compare. So Meliodas from Seven Deadly Sins versus Gojo from. Oh wait. Gojo versus from Jujutsu Kaisen. But before I get to your questions and counterpoints on that, Illis Live says, question about the game anime. Go ahead and shoot your question, good sir. The game anime, again, that one, if you're talking about that one, is that's Infinite Dendrogram. That's the last one. That's the hidden gem for this week. If you have any questions about that, go ahead and shoot. If it's to talk about Sword Art Online, Hollow Realization, that is a conversation we can have off stream for sure. But as you're typing up your question, Meliodas versus Gojo, what's your thoughts? Who's winning that?
Again, you know what? I'm going to say this. Any comparison to Gojo, I'm going to say I have no idea. Like, I'm just going to throw that out there, because we haven't even seen like even close to like the top of this guy's power yet. At the very least, I don't think we have. I don't think we have. I think he has a lot more in store, because he is a cocky guy. Mm-hmm. Like he's not just like, yeah, like I'm good. Like he's like, no, I'm the best.
And like he's so with that being said, like if I took out Meliodas and put in Escanor, do you still feel as confident to say I don't know, or would you? You know what I mean? Because I'm kind of curious of what you would say.
Now I don't know, because like I know Meliodas and Escanor like go back and forth. I still need to watch season 3 of
okay.
Yeah, see, I'm kind of behind on some shows, if you haven't noticed.
Real fast, LSB Live asks inside the chat, would you say that it's on par with Dot Hack? I would I would say if I was given the two animes, I'd be more inclined to watch Infinite Dendrogram than Dot Hack.
Dot Hack, I feel like it has a little bit more of a. I think it has a little bit more of a more serious tone, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've seen it. And I actually have it in my queue to rewatch it. But if you have more of if you have more of a refreshed memory of it, by all means.
Yeah, I honestly, I would wholeheartedly take. I would, and yeah, LSB Live agrees with you too as well. I would say, if I was given the two to watch, I probably would watch Infinite Dendrogram probably twice before I decided to pick up and go back to Doc Hack. To be completely honest with you.
Yeah, it's like Infinite Dendrogram. It's definitely a fun time. You know, like watching it. It's the colors are very bright and vibrant. It seems very much more of a like it almost kind of feels like a cross between like maybe Danmachi and something else, like
Bo Fury.
Yeah, like it. But yeah, that's it. It feels like a cross between Bofuri and Danmachi in the sense that it doesn't like it takes itself seriously to a point, but at a certain point, like he's also just getting abilities stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
Which depending on the tone that you're going for, you know, like sometimes that can work. Other times it will backfire in your face. But so far, at least from what I've seen of Infinite Dendrogram so far, it's not that bad. I definitely think it could be better, but at the very least, from what I've seen, it's not that bad. It's pretty fun. But yeah, in terms of like Hack Sign, that I believe the tone of that one's a little bit more serious. So, and again, I'm going to go back to it. You have to adjust your expectations for the tone of the show that you're going for.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like you're going to get those more goofy shows that. Like Danmachi, like it tends to be a little bit more goofy more often than not, but then it like actually will drop in those really serious moments.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would rather take a show that's kind of goofy, and then like maybe it's like 60% goofy, 40% like serious. I'd rather take a show like that than a show that's like 60% serious and 40% goofy.
That's kind of what I don't know if you saw that inside the chat, but LSB Love does kind of reference that, what you just said. So it's the lighthearted tone that makes you want to see it.
Yeah, it's more of the lightheartedness of it. Because like, especially like when you're watching like very serious stuff, like for me, I have a limit to how much serious tone I can take before I'm just like bummed out and I'm like, okay, hold on. Because like that happened to me with ReZero for a little bit, where like when I was watching ReZero, I was just like, oh, hold on, this is too much of a bummer for me. I need to step back. I need to like take a day off.
Yeah.
Because I was marathoning the whole thing. I was like, I need to like take a day off. Like this is not this like it's getting to a point where it's bumming me out. So like sometimes like you need that lighthearted, goofy nature to kind of counterbalance it. Because like ultimately like I love looking at shows on an individual level, but like sometimes like it's your playlist, you know, like sometimes you want that hype song, and then sometimes like you want a little like
a little groove, yeah, a little jazz up in there.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Like you want a little smooth jazz like coming in afterwards. You want to hear that sax. You're like,
LSB Live says, I definitely don't mind a lighthearted show. I can watch a lot of serious stuff, but I can take in both without a problem. I agree. I definitely like. All right, Attack on Titan and That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, two entirely different ideologies, but both are pretty heavy hitting. Again, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, I don't ever have even though people have died in that show, it doesn't feel like that they died. It just feels like that they became a part of something greater, which again is Rimuru. You know what I mean?
They do a really good job of painting the catharsis. So like for me, like if you're building something up, there has to be a payoff. There has to be some sort of catharsis at the end to let the audience, to like at least like make the audience feel a little bit better. I definitely think that there's a time and place for certain stories where like it's like a Death Note, where it's just like nobody wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's kind of like one of those sour notes where it's just like, all right, now what did we learn?
Yep.
Don't write anything. Speaking of which, I actually heard that there was a third. I think it's going to be another one shot of Death Note coming out soon. So I'll have to look into that a little bit more. But as soon as I get more information on that, I will keep you guys posted.
Yep. Yeah. But going back to the death match, we had Gojo versus Meliodas, and I know that you're kind of so let me paint it in perspective here. Gojo now versus Meliodas from what you know so far, because I know there's more inside season 3, but Gojo now from what we've seen to his abilities versus Meliodas.
You know, I've got to say Meliodas. Meliodas, like he like erased like a whole city.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a pit where it was left.
Yeah.
Like, and I think from like I've seen like a few clips here and there that like kind of like lead me to believe that he's gotten even stronger since then.
Oh,
if I'm not
I have no idea.
So like based on that, I don't think Gojo has erased a city. I'm just gonna say that I don't think he's erased a city, but I know that Meliodas has. Meliodas has completely erased a city, and not just that. He's like, I'm not gonna just get the crust on top. I'm getting everything underneath it too.
Yeah,
like he just completely erased that stuff. So Gojo might be a little bit cocky, but I don't think he's got anything on Meliodas.
I will say this because I agree with you. I picked Meliodas too currently. I don't know if my answer would change as we get further into Jujutsu Kaisen. I will, and this is a name spoiler. I'm not going to spoil what happens, but this is a name spoiler. Meliodas acquires what is called Assault Mode Meliodas.
Oh, Assaulting Mode.
That's all I'm going to say. There's Assault Mode of Meliodas, and it's wild. It pushes stuff to the limit. I almost gave away something. I didn't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away, so I'll keep it quiet. But get through season 3, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, man. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would have to go with Meliodas too as well on that regards at current. Are you Googling it? I don't know if you want to. I mean, you'll see it. It's going to show you an image.
So I'll say this: I've already like seen like a few images from the manga.
Okay.
So I have seen his assault mode. Okay. I have seen that. Plus, Abs also plays 7DS. So she plays that the mobile game on her phone. So like she's already like shown stuff like with angels, and I'm like, oh my god, like what? Mm-hmm. Like what happened? Yeah, like I've only seen the first 2 seasons, and all of a sudden it feels like they've doubled or tripled like the amount of like new stuff in there. So yeah, that's pretty. All right, so I need to X out of that window before I spoil too much for myself.
Yeah, because the spoilers would definitely be on its way if you haven't seen season 3 yet.
Dude, those spoilers, they get you. Yeah. They get you. Stay away. Don't even Google stuff. Don't look at images, especially if it's a series you really want to watch. Stay away from Google Images, and definitely stay away from the fan wikis. Don't read the bios. Don't do it. Yeah. Because you're just going to be like, oh, cool. Like, I wonder if this fun fact is right. Oh, deceased.
Yeah. Guys,
so real salty about that.
Hey, dude, I don't blame you. I stayed away from it, and it was accidentally spoiled. And we talked about that before. But I'm still gonna hold on to that for the rest of the life of All Day Anime. So we'll have to take a look there. But that actually does it for us here at All Day Anime today, guys. Episode 5. So thank you very much again for everyone that has been tuning in. A few updates today. Another episode of Attack on Titan is out, so after this episode, make sure you guys are checking that out because we might be touching base on that again next week, as well as some ReZero content and what was the other anime that we had to get caught? Oh, that time I got reincarnated slime. That's what we're going to open up with, but of course we might be able to touch base next week on some all-day anime for some Attack on Titan, so be on the lookout for all of that. A little bit of news, which is I want to get this out to you guys before All Things Gaming, because you guys technically only have today and tomorrow. If you guys don't have a PS5, but want some of the PS5 games that's available for free on PlayStation Plus, you guys can still add it to your library, and it will save it into your library as a free download for you until you get your PS5. We know it's hectic out there right now, trying to out buy these scalpers and bots and all that crap. But it looks like that's what Sony has in motion, so that way you can at least still benefit from the PlayStation Plus a subscription. So if you guys have a PS5, or if you guys don't have a PS5 but have a PS4 or PlayStation account, I would highly recommend to add Maneater to your library, because you guys have today, you guys have tomorrow, and after that, it's going to swap out. And those new games are going to be coming out. I know one of them I'm excited for, which is Destruction All-Stars. Very excited about that. But be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a free PlayStation Plus game. You guys can still get PS5 games. You guys just can't play it until you get your PS5. So go ahead and add that in there. Tomorrow's going to be all day anime, or our Sin segment, so make sure you guys are checking out that on Mildewy Carrot's page. As him and TBF Abyss are going through Halo from beginning to end. So you guys can check them out on his personal page, which is his Twitch. If you guys go to All Things Gaming, which is our ALWT Gaming podcast for all things gaming, you guys can check us out this Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thursday is going to be Smite Night all day. And then this Saturday is going to be, we're going to be doing a 9 to 5 segment for February. We're doing Earth from Another Sun, which is a game that is currently in alpha and beta. So be on the lookout for that, as we're going to do 8 hours, or strive to go through 8 hours of that and see what that's going to be like. So if you guys are going to check that out, www.twitch.tv/ALWC Gaming. We're going to go live from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, next Sunday is going to be all day anime once again. For any other additional information, check out our social media pages: Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Everything else is ALWT Gaming. If you guys go to our website, www.alwtgaming.com, you guys can check out more stuff that we have there, more memes, more posts, more mobile apps, the whole nine. And then, of course, if you guys have trouble finding us on YouTube, just type in At Least We Tried Gaming, and you guys should be able to find our content. Any last words there, Gravity-Mark Dos?
Peace, love, and anime.
There you go.
I'll leave it off at that. Peace, love, and anime.
There you go, guys. And yep, I think once again, big thank you for everyone that's been tuning in. O-Dog for dropping in. Illest Be Live for the love inside the chat. Sweating Llama for hosting the channel, and Nasty V Nas for giving us the recent follow. So until next time, everybody, Control Alt Peace.
Complete.